Good morning, everybody. We have Chaos Magic being added to Dungeons & Dragons Online in the form of Wild Magic. So today, I'm going to do a quick kind of rundown of what Wild Magic is, what it's supposed to be, what you can expect out of it, and the Wild Magic Sorcerer subclass archetype sort of thing. So, what you can see above my head is a little bit of a pop there, and I have this little green light. That is, in fact, Wild Magic. So this effect right here means I have a Wild Magic spell prepped. But what exactly is Wild Magic? Well, there's two parts to Wild Magic. One is in Wild Magic Sorcerer, and the other one is just the concept of Wild Magic itself. So, to get started with just Wild Magic, you get Wild Magic Surges. These take place when you can be under the effect of a Wild Magic Surge. So, that means that every character is not going to have Wild Magic Surges all the time or anything like that. This is only going to affect you in dungeons where Wild Magic Surges occur. So, which is to say, we're getting the Myth Drannor expansion soon. In Myth Drannor, which has a lot to do with wild magic, there's probably need to be dungeons where there will be wild magic surges. The way they described it is that you'll basically have like a circle on the ground somewhere that's like a wild magic zone, and then when you step in it, spells that you cast activate wild magic surges. So if you're not a wild mage, this is just going to be one of those things that's kind of like a cool expansion-based mechanic, and it should be interesting to see how it actually plays out. But when you get a surge, they're either very good, neutral, bad, or very bad. And the type of surge is actually indicated by the visual that goes above your head. So you can see my character has a green symbol here. This means I have a neutral surge ready. And when I cast any spell to activate the wild magic surge, so this is if I cast any spell that has an effect and it like functions. So if I cast like a damage spell, for example, so I just go like whoosh and I throw a damage spell. I guess it technically targeted that box. It activated the Wild Magic Surge. But if you just cast a spell and it has no effect, it won't do anything. If you cast a buff, which applies an effect to somebody, or you cast a damage spell and it actually does damage to a target, it will apply the Wild Magic Surge. So that one was a neutral. It was called Feel in Blue, and it turned my character blue for like 2 seconds. Again, not all of them are really, really crazy. Some of them will have like very minor impacts on your gameplay. And they put a couple examples here. So like very good, you can get like a bubble that makes you and all your allies immune to damage for like 4 seconds. That's kind of good. A good one is like Touch of Chaos. For a minute, you add extra chaos damage to all of your spells. It's kind of good. A neutral one is Free Beer, where you conjure beer on the ground. They're still working on the effects, but it actually does work in game. It just conjures a bunch of tavern beer, which is kind of interesting. For bad, you can get Iron Pot Head, where a pot appears on your head like you're an NPC vendor in Skyrim, and you become blind for a second, which is kind of funny. And then for very bad, you can get stuff like Rats, where you turn into a rat for 8 seconds. And I had this happen to me while I was streaming this yesterday, and let's just say it had devastatingly bad consequences as I wasn't able to recover. So the very bad surges and the good surges, they range all over the place. But as I said, I'm getting them right now, and I'm not in Myth Drannor. That's because I'm playing as a Wild Mage. Wild Mage is a Sorcerer archetype, and basically the core function of it is that you will get Wild Magic Surges no matter what. So under spellcasting here, I have a 15% Wild Surge chance. So what this means is that every time I cast a spell, I have a 15% chance to proc a Wild Surge. And also, if I'm not casting spells, over time, I will just generate one. So you can see my surges here. I didn't cast anything. I just waited and it just popped up. And the higher chance increases decreases the amount of time it takes for you to get a passive Wild Surge. And now I can see I have a Wild Surge prepped right here. This is a good Wild Surge. You can tell based on the coloring, how it's all multicolored and looks nice. The bad Wild Surges are like crimson red. And so they're pretty easy to tell the difference. There's like this one has like these light surges where it has like dark spirals. So let's cast a spell. And I got Wild Surge, Spring of Mana. So for the next 20 seconds, my spell costs are reduced by 10%. So there's some cool surges. They're not going to have an insanely powerful impact on your character most of the time, but they're kind of neat. My first impressions of the Wild Magic Surges, reading over the thread and looking over how it was supposed to work, I was not impressed, personally. I thought this was going to be pretty bad, pretty boring, and just honestly not really cut it. But that's where playing the game comes in. I played the game for about 6.5 hours. I leveled this character all the way up to level 13. And in that time, gonna be honest with you, it was pretty fun. I actually was surprised by how often I enjoyed getting the Wild Magic Surges. and having them impact my gameplay and change up how things were actually going to work. So again, now I have hammer time. This gives me for 5 seconds while I have this hammer, all my spells cause a knockdown with no save, which is hugely beneficial when you're getting surrounded by enemies. I had hammer time come up when I was about to die once, and then all of a sudden, boom, everything was knocked out, and I killed them all, no problem. So, what are the core features with the Wild Mage? First, they get a couple extra spells. There's a new spell, Chaos Bolt. It's like Firebolt or Ice Bolt or whatever, the level 1 bolt spells, but it does chaos damage. Then there's Chaos Sphere. It's not Fireball, it's like Lightning Sphere, but it's like pretty colors. So you can see like I've got this like, it shoots at this ball. I don't know if the angles do it justice. Shoots at this like multicolored ball, and then you have some cool colors that pop out, and it deals some damage, and it can also proc your Wild Surge effects. They're also supposed to get Chaos Hammer as a 4th level spell, but it's not in the preview, so there is no Chaos Hammer, so I couldn't play around with it. And they're actually missing the Eldritch Knight tree, and instead they get the Wild Magic tree. The Wild Magic tree is fairly straightforward. It gives a lot of chaos spell power for your chaos spells. Chaos spells use alignment spell power, which comes from Radiance. So you put on Radiance items with this character. So that's why I've got like the Coalesce Coinage for Radiance and Radiance lore. I've got the Ring of Summer's Heat for Radiance and Radiance lore, and all those things will combine to give me those will add into my chaos spell power. But this spell power here is specifically chaos spell power. So this is specifically going to be the spell power on only chaos effects. It's going to gain extra damage. They said they're working on a way to actually show your different alignment spell powers. So that will be something you'll be able to see in the future. So in the tree, you can manipulate it, how your chaos surges work. So your wild magic surges. So I've got the Chaos Bolt spell-like ability. I've got the Chaos Sphere spell-like ability, which are both very helpful. And then you also get Wild Strike, which is a single target spell that causes enemies to actually take surges themselves. So nothing here is too powerful, but if I press this on an enemy, so if I go find a kobold around here, and I hit him, so it goes, and it gives this like cool color sparkle, and then they start getting wild magic surges as well, mostly skewing negative. Also, I got big time. I'm big. Ooh, how huge I am. There's a lot of fun surges in here. So yeah, so there's like, so that's basically it. You got like some couple spells. You can also increase your chance of wild magic surge occurring with the Student of Chaos, which I took because the surges are pretty good and you want to have them happening more often than not. Additionally, you can get the ability to bless chests, although this ability sucks, so don't worry about it. And you can also limit your surges. So let's say you don't want to have very bad surges because, you know, turning into a rodent for 8 seconds might kill you. And you don't want to have bad surges because going blind might kill you. You can turn them off if you want. So that way you can only get neutral to good or very good surges, which makes your character a lot more consistent and is significantly more powerful when you get the effect Rapid Surge, which lets you bypass the cooldown on surges. As far as I can tell, they have like a 2-second cooldown on surges, so you can't get too many surges back to back, but with Rapid Surge, there's no cooldown. So as long as you have all of the surge chance and you're just belting out spells, you're constantly surging and just having extra effects going on. However, you might be wondering, how come I didn't take that? The reason I didn't block out these surges is they also had an effect called Power and Chaos, where you get 100 spell power, which is a lot. That's a really big number. That's like an extra meta magic feat, but you're able to receive very bad and bad surges. And I'm going to be honest, it's pretty fun. I only died twice due to surges in my 6.5 hours of play, which is more than you want for hardcore, but that's probably fine for the regular game. And they're going to be adding more surges and stuff in the future to like add to it and to give you more to go on there. There's a couple other wild magic things, like how here if you take this dodge effect at max, it randomly rolls a d6 and adds that to your dodge cap, which is kind of fun. There's an effect up here where it randomly rolls a d100 and adds that to your MRR cap, which is like kind of fun. There's the Tides of Chaos, where you actually get -2 to all your spell DCs, but then whenever you cast a spell, you add a d6 to that spell. So at worst, it's a -1, and at best, it's a +4. And so, ranging from -1 to +4, maybe not ideal, but most classes get +1. So that's about half of the time you're going to be getting worse or the same as other classes, and half of the time you're going to be getting better. And if you just think about it, if you're just a god gamer with good RNG, just get the high roll half of the time, and you'll be perfectly fine. The big capstone here is an ability called Channel Entropy. It's basically just Acid Well, but Chaos. And it's really cool. It doesn't work, but it's a cool concept, and hopefully they get it to function. Now, I want to talk about the wild magic is how is it going to fare? How do I think it's actually going to work in the game in total? Long story short, I think that wild magic right now is way cooler than I thought. Ooh, I got the free beer there. It's way cooler than I thought. The visuals are fantastic in a lot of the spells. I really love like the multicolors that they decided to use for everything. I think it fits the theme very well. And actually, the surges are fun. I didn't think they were going to be as fun. They're actually surprisingly fun to have them pop up, even sometimes the bad ones. Like, here's a positive surge. You just saw it go up there, cast a spell, and now I got shields up. I just get shield on myself and everyone around me. A couple big questions people had. Can you grief other players? The answer is no. The only form of griefing you can do with the wild magic surges is if you, like, die during a raid during a key part because you have a bad surge go off and you can't do anything. Then like that would be griefing other players, but you can't negatively impact it. It's not like there's a fireball your teammates or cast mass hold on your party or something. None of that happens. If something bad happens, it happens only to you. So you can't grief other people with this. So don't worry about wild mages being in your party griefing you, which is one thing. The second bit of it here is that there's no support for this in epics at all. None of the epic destinies have anything chaos related. So you can't really use this in epics. This is much like Blightcaster, where Blightcaster, when it released, is cool. It's an amazing heroic leveling character. It's one of the best hardcore characters, but it literally doesn't do anything in epics. So once you get to 20, you just use a lesser heart of wood to turn yourself, or you do an epic reincarnation to turn yourself into a cold druid, and you just play cold druid. Because, again, there's zero Blightcaster support. There's no piercing spells. The acid spells are just baloney. So you really don't have a whole lot you actually want to do. You can use some acid stuff, but if you want to go to the Thorn version, there's just nothing. And it's kind of the same thing here with Wild Magic. Wild Magics are evocation casters. So in theory, because you have the Savant trees, you could just use like Fire Savant and then grab like Fire Dragon Breath or Air Savant or something like that and use like some of the Sonic stuff out of Fatesinger. But like, if the best version of Wild Mage is just don't use the Wild Magic stuff in epics and just use the regular Savant trees and take the regular forms, in my opinion, kind of a blunder. So hopefully they'll be able to fix that. The fixes that I propose to make this a lot better, things they can do other than just make the tree work. Number one, there just needs to be more surges. I find myself oftentimes like seeing the same surges over and over. Like the fireworks surge, that's really fun, but you see it all the time because there's just not that many. So I would like a list of like 100 surges total that can be pulled from. Not like 100 neutral surges and 100 good and 100 bad, but like 100 surges would be nice. Because you see butterflies, you see fireworks and stuff like that kind of all the time, and it would be nice if there was just a little bit more variety in terms of some of the things that were going on. That would be kind of cool. Number two, chaos spells. You need more chaos spells. One of the problems that's in the game with the acid, and the reason why you can't play Acid Savant Sorcerer, is because there's Acid Rain at level 4, and then you have Acid Well at level 9, and there's no 5s, no 6s, no 7s, or 8s. As a result, once you get into epics, because there's also not that many epic acid spells, you don't really have anything to cast either. Like if you're a fire sorcerer, you can just use Delayed Blast Fireball and Meteor Swarm plus other stuff. If you're a lightning, you've got Chain Lightning and Ball Lightning and Thunderstroke. If you're cold, you got Cone of Cold and Freezing Sphere and Iceberg. But if you're acid, you got literally nothing to cast. And if you're chaos, you got literally nothing to cast. Unless you just play fire, or cold, or lightning. If you play fire, cold, or lightning, then why are we using wild magic? So my suggestion is throw in a 6th level spell that's chaos themed, maybe an 8th level spell that's chaos themed, maybe there's an enhancement here that goes into like entropic energy. That's like your prismatic spray now deals 1d6 plus 6 damage per level, chaos damage per level or something like that, in addition to its other effects. Like, just something to give you some additional spells, because while having nothing to cast, it's kind of a bummer. So that is a bit of a problem, and they could definitely fix that up. Then add some chaos scaling somewhere into the tree. I think that, or into one of the epic trees. My suggestion is, because Shirati Champion is in fact a chaos themed thing, what they could do is they could make it so that the Shirati Epic Destiny Mantle scales its chance to activate on spells based on your wild magic. So say it applies like 1/3 of your wild magic proc chance, which is here. So I have 15% for wild magic surge. It takes 1/3 of that and adds that to the chance to activate the Prism Shirati Mantle. So that way, you're kind of like scaling fates and stuff. I think that would be kind of interesting. So they could do like, it's normally 7%. So for me, it would be 12% to activate on spells, which I think would be fine. And if they could add like an alternate version of Fey lights, because it's like kind of color spray themed, and make it like prismatic lights and make it do chaos damage. So it's just like they just add in one epic Destiny ability. So this character fits perfectly in Shirati as like their main tree, because it's got all the chaos elements. It feels good, and you can still play this as a savant if you want, but the wild mage actually has somewhere to fit. Those would be my basic suggestions as to how I would make this better. Some people have been asking the question, is this good or is this bad? I'm going to quickly cut you off right there. Of course this is good. It's just Sorcerer. Like, yeah, Sorcerer's really powerful. Like, Sorcerer's insanely powerful. It's like one of the best classes in the entire game. And because you can just play this as a Sorcerer and kind of ignore the wild mage stuff, of course it's going to be good. And with the wild mage stuff, if you can cancel out all of the bad surges, you're only getting positive things every once in a while for a pretty small investment. You'll probably see some people playing wild mages and just playing run-of-the-mill fire savant with some surges, run-of-the-mill air savant with some surges, or that wild Feydark illusionist semi-tank sorcerer with wild magic surges. Because especially when you cancel out the very bad and bad surges, it's actually not that bad. You're getting good effects pretty much all the time. So that's kind of neat. So again, is it good? Yes, of course it's good. It's just Sorcerer, but I would ideally love to see Wild Mage be interesting and be good. It doesn't have to be better than everything else, but the current issue is that once you get to around level 17, 18, you don't really want to cast any of the chaos spells anymore. You just want to cast the regular spells from the class. And once you get past level 20, literally all of this chaos stuff, except for the surges are good, but like Chaos Bolt, useless. Chaos Sphere, useless. Wild Strike maybe has some use to it, and then you're just casting Channel Entropy. But like, why would I cast Channel Entropy, which might be resisted by monsters that are resistant to chaos, like chaos creatures, when instead I could just bypass all immunities with fire, get a bunch of fire caster levels, and blow everything up. So hopefully they take care of that. Ooh, a bad surge. I'm out of phase. I do 95% less damage, but I take 95% damage. This one's kind of funny because it's actually a buff, because if you get this randomly, you just know you're invincible for like 6 seconds. So it's actually not that bad. But yeah, anyway, that's kind of my take on the wild magic. That's what wild magic is. So while wild magic sorcerer will have these surges all of the time, remember, if you're playing as a non-wild magic sorcerer, you'll only have these surges when you're playing in content that has surges, which is going to be the new Myth Drannor content, which is not in the game yet. So don't worry about like, but I'm playing my Artificer in Kobold Ringleader. Am I going to get surges? No, you're not, because it's only in Myth Drannor. Unless there's a quest called Kobold Ringleader in Myth Drannor, and then I'm just, you know, the world is twisted on me. I don't know. We'll see. Ooh, I'm all sparkly. Look at the sparkles. Whoa. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm going to post my feedback in the forums. And yeah, overall, like I said, looks cool. I had a lot of fun, so I hope everybody else has a lot of fun. I thought Wild Mage was going to be bad. And, I mean, like, currently it's just worse than regular Sorcerer. But hopefully they can just give it, like I said, just fill in the gaps. It needs, like, a couple spells and an epic ability. And honestly, I think you could just put Wild Mage in the game as is. Maybe some more surges. But yeah, that's kind of my take, my lukewarm take, and that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Take care. Eat your breakfast.